Nobody chooses addiction, not in the sense that matters. The word choice implies access to genuine alternatives, implies that the person could have selected differently with equal ease. They choose the drink or the substance or the behavior the first time, and they choose it again. But what they are choosing is not the thing itself. They are choosing relief from something that was present before the thing existed in their life, something that was installed in the nervous system before they had the language to name it, or the resources to process it, or the understanding to know that what was happening to them was happening at all. Carl Jung spent his career trying to understand what drives compulsive behavior at the level beneath the behavior, beneath the substance, beneath the habit, beneath the pattern that the person has often tried many times to stop, and that keeps returning not because they lack willpower, but because the thing the behavior is relieving has never been addressed. What he found is that in almost every case of genuine addiction, the compulsive behavior is a solution. Not a failure, not a weakness, not a moral deficiency, a solution. The most effective solution the person found to a problem that most of the people around them have never been able to see, because the problem is internal and invisible, and the solution, the behavior, is visible and easy to judge. A solution to something that arrived before the person had any way to solve it. A solution to pain that was too large for a child to hold, and that the adult body is still holding in the specific form of a nervous system wound that the substance or the behavior temporarily, imperfectly, but reliably reaches. The first thing to understand is what childhood trauma actually does to the nervous system, because most people have a psychological understanding of trauma and a much more limited understanding of what trauma does at the biological level that makes the addiction possible and, in many cases, almost inevitable. When a child experiences something overwhelming, something that exceeds their capacity to process it, the nervous system does something very specific. It does not file the experience as a memory in the ordinary sense. It stores it as a state, a specific physiological configuration of the body that corresponds to what the child was experiencing in that moment. The specific quality of threat or helplessness or abandonment or shame encoded not in language or narrative, but in the body's continuous operating system, in the baseline level of activation that the nervous system maintains as its default. The child who grows up in an environment of chronic threat or chronic neglect or chronic shame does not develop a memory of having been threatened or neglected or shamed. Memory is the conscious mind's record of experience. What forms here is deeper than memory. They develop a nervous system that is calibrated to threat, one that runs at a higher baseline activation than a nervous system that developed in a safer environment, one that reads neutral situations as potentially dangerous, that fires the alarm response more readily, that takes longer to return to baseline after the alarm is triggered, and that produces, as a continuous background feature of daily experience, a specific quality of discomfort that is not attached to any present cause because the cause is not present anymore. It was present decades ago, but the body does not know that. The body is still in the state the original experience installed, and the adult who carries this state experiences it not as trauma, but as the texture of ordinary life, as simply how things feel, as the specific quality of their baseline experience that they have never known to be otherwise, because it has been there since before they had any comparative experience. They do not know they are carrying something. They know they feel the way they feel. And they have learned, at some point, that something specific changes that feeling. As a low-level agitation or emptiness or dread that is simply how things feel, and that nothing they have tried has been able to fully resolve. The second thing is about what the substance or behavior does to that state, because this is the mechanism that explains why people cannot simply choose to stop once the pattern has established itself. The substance or the behavior reaches the state directly, not through understanding or processing or healing in any therapeutic sense. Through neurochemistry, through the specific action of the substance on the nervous system that temporarily produces the opposite of the installed state. The person who carries a baseline of chronic activation, of the body running in low-level alarm as its default state, discovers that alcohol produces a specific relief from that alarm that nothing else in their ordinary life produces with the same speed or reliability. Not exercise, not meditation, not the ordinary satisfactions of a good day. The alarm is too deeply installed for those things to reach it consistently. The substance reaches it directly, in minutes, with a reliability that everything else the person has tried cannot match. The person who carries a baseline of emptiness and disconnection discovers that stimulants or thrill-seeking or intense relationship drama temporarily fills the emptiness in a way that nothing more moderate provides. The person who carries a baseline of shame that sits in the chest like a weight discovers that some substances produce, briefly, a quality of self-acceptance and ease that the ordinary social performance of their life never quite generates. In each case, the substance is solving a real problem. This is the thing that most people who have not experienced addiction find hardest to accept, because from the outside, the substance is obviously the problem. But the substance is not the problem. The substance is the solution, not the problem the person thinks they have, not the problem of boredom or stress or social discomfort, though all of those may be present. The real problem, the one the substance is actually solving, is the nervous system state that childhood installed and that the adult has been carrying, often for decades, without any adequate framework for understanding what it is or what it would take to actually address it. Jung was one of the first clinicians to understand this with any precision. He wrote in his letters that he considered alcoholism a spiritual problem, and this gets misread as a religious statement when what he actually meant was something more specific and more useful. He meant that the hunger driving the addiction was a hunger for a kind of wholeness, for a kind of self-integration, for the experience of being, however briefly, without the specific internal division that the original wound had installed. The war he was describing is the war between what the person actually is and what their history required them to suppress, between the authentic self and the managed self, between what was too dangerous to feel and the continuous effort of not feeling it, for the specific relief that comes when the war between what a person actually is and what their history required them to suppress temporarily ceases. The substance produces this relief chemically. The person experiences it as the closest thing to peace they have ever felt. And when the substance wears off and the war resumes, they reach for the substance again, not because they are weak, because the war is real, and the peace, however brief and however costly, is the only peace available to them in the absence of any other way to end it. If what I am describing is something you are living right now, or something you have watched someone you love live, subscribe to Jung Teach and leave it in the comments. Tell me what the substance or the behavior is reaching in you that nothing else has been able to reach. I read every comment. You are here because something brought you to this video, and that something is looking for a framework that goes deeper than the ones you have already found. This is that framework. Stay with me. The third thing is about the specific forms that childhood trauma takes that most reliably produce addiction in adulthood, because the word trauma is used broadly enough that it sometimes loses the precision needed to be useful. Trauma, in the context of addiction, is not only the dramatic experiences that most people recognize as traumatic. It includes the abuse, the violence, the severe neglect, the specific events that arrive with enough force to overwhelm the child's processing capacity in a single incident. But it also includes the chronic, low-level, ambient experiences that are more difficult to name because they did not produce a single memorable event. The household where love was conditional on performance, where the child learned that being acceptable required achieving rather than simply being. The parent whose emotional state was so unpredictable that the child learned to monitor it continuously as a survival strategy and never learned to stop. The family where certain feelings were not permitted, where the child who was afraid or angry or sad learned that these experiences had to be suppressed in order to maintain the connection they needed to survive. The child who was consistently not seen, not heard, not adequately recognized as a specific and particular person with their own interior life that deserved attention, develops a specific kind of wound that is not attached to any single event, and that is therefore very difficult to name and very easy to dismiss as not real trauma, because nothing dramatic happened. But the nervous system does not distinguish between the dramatic single event and the chronic ambient condition. Both produce the same dysregulated baseline. Both produce the same adult body carrying a state that was installed before the person had any resources to process it. Both produce the same adult who is carrying a state they did not choose and cannot simply decide to release, and who will, at some point, find something that temporarily releases it for them. The fourth thing is about why the addiction feels like the solution rather than the problem, and why this specific experience is almost universally misunderstood by the people around the person who is addicted. From the outside, the addiction looks like the problem. The substance is destroying the person's health, relationships, professional life. The behavior is consuming time and resources that should be going elsewhere. The logical conclusion is that if the person simply stopped, the problem would be solved. From the inside, the experience is different. The addiction is the one thing that reliably addresses the actual problem, which is the internal state. And stopping it without addressing the internal state does not solve anything. It removes the solution without providing a replacement. What remains is the internal state in its unmedicated form, which is often significantly more painful than the people around the person have ever witnessed, because the internal state was never visible to them. They saw the behavior that was managing it. They did not see what the behavior was managing. This is why the most common approaches to addiction, the ones that focus on stopping the behavior without addressing the state, have the specific and consistent limitation that they do. They address the visible thing. They do not address the invisible thing that the visible thing was addressing. And the invisible thing does not go away because the visible thing was removed. It intensifies because now the person is in the presence of the unmedicated internal state without the one thing that was reliably mediating it. The person can often stop. What they cannot do is stay stopped in the continued presence of the internal state without something that addresses the state directly. The something can be therapeutic. It can be relational. It can be the gradual, difficult, genuine processing of the original experience that installed the state. But it has to be something that reaches the actual problem rather than something that addresses only the behavior that was the person's best available solution to the actual problem. If you are watching this and you are someone who has been trying